Well, hey Virgos, how y'all doing? Welcome. Happy birthday season. I'm so excited to be back with you guys after my hiatus. Let's get right into it. I just meditated for y'all, and I saw the word legacy first off, and I saw a lot of clocks, like loads and loads of clocks. I also was taken back to like the Newsies era. What is that? Early 1900s. Felt like early 1900s New York or Chicago, where it was very much like, read all about it, and we're, breaking news, and this is what's going on. And it really felt like, you guys were shown as being a turtle, like a beautiful turtle of collective energy. I saw this river being unleashed down this main city street, right? In like a New York kind of setting, right? Where all this water is coming in, and you as the Virgo collective were riding this wave as a turtle, right? And I was seeing you were letting it lift you up and go down, and there was this very distinct feeling of the pleasure being in the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance being the path of allowance and flow. Allowance and flow. Then I also saw, you get back to this turtle imagery here. By the way, turtles also, carry their homes on their backs, and they do symbolize this feeling of home and groundedness and security and stability, but also there's a certain, pacing around it as well. The turtle goes how quickly it goes. You can't rush a turtle, right? I saw this image of y'all as a turtle being spun around and around and around and around, and then I saw it turn into a clock, right? And landing on noon. Like I just saw you spinning around and around, and I saw an image of the Wheel of Fortune from the tarot. So I do feel like there's this overall feeling and message of the path of least resistance being the path of allowance and flow for you guys right now. And it does feel like there are those around you or influences at hand. Oh, that's interesting. The eagle represents the Wheel of Fortune, so that's interesting. It does feel like there are influences around you that if you let them, can help you. Whether it's a conversation where you're able to see things differently and give your perspective a little spa day. I'm hearing that, spa day perspective. Yes, spa day perspective. Or they're there to just uplift you and help you out, or give you a lead on something, or support you in whatever way that looks like, right? There's something about that. I also feel like there's news coming. News around, I keep hearing news at 9, news at 9, news at 9. We were talking about September, it is your birthday season. I do feel, because I saw that newspaper, I feel like there's a good group of y'all that are going to be getting some big news. I do feel like it's welcome. Wow. Okay, let's talk. The horse represents the Chariot, which is the sign of Cancer. So this is really interesting how this is coming about, because Cancers are the sign of the home and the hearth. We were just talking about the turtle and about their relationship to home and what they represent energetically, right? So really fascinating that this is coming up here this way. I also, as you may well know, I love it when an earth sign gets, an animal that is of their home element. So earth for earth here with this horse. The Chariot is that, I will say it's like a fast forward movement, but it's more of like a balanced, accelerated movement forward, right? Where all spokes and wheels are operating optimally, right? And together and cohesively. And it's also that aspect of balance of yin and yang, right? Inner and outer aspects of self. Oh, okay. That's what I feel like the overall point of this is for you guys as well, is balancing the inner and outer aspects of yourself. That, right, can be best accomplished, I feel like, in this context by being in a state of allowance and flow. I'm hearing something really funny. I feel like a lot of the times Virgos know best. I'm hearing right now to trust and this is interesting, because usually it's like you always know what's best, trust your inner compass, right? And yes, I feel like absolutely, but I feel like there's something right now where you are being led towards something that is so wonderful, but is so out of the realm of what you could ever think up on your own, as is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune, when it doles out, its prizes or whatever have you, or its gifts, it is usually very different than what we would have expected, right? Like it's that energy of like, oh, I was trying to manifest a 1-bedroom apartment, that was close to where I work. And then the Wheel of Fortune turns and you get a, 3-bedroom, 2-bath dream, a ranch style house that is overlooking a lake, also near where you work, right? You see where I'm going with this? So it's almost as if you would be limiting what you are due to manifest by trying to control it or plan it or overthink it. Horse also represents freedom. I also really like the moon, as it's indicated here too. Moon, Cancer, is also ruled by the moon. So there's this Cancerian energy here that is very present as well. Really, really, really nice. Okay. Let's see what is going on for y'all for first half of September. I also feel like for those of you who have spent a lot of time in your life, or maybe even in the recent past, being there for others or making decisions or having to be in the seat of, power or influence, or really being, someone who informs or is the boss or gets things done or has everything sorted and has the mind operating on all cylinders, it really feels like take this boon as it's offered, because it really feels like you're being given this opportunity to either let others uplift and support you or just ride the wave of change and opportunity, right? So this is really interesting. So you got the 7 of Swords here in reverse. This is lining up really beautifully with what I'm feeling. So 7 of Swords is self-sabotage, that thief in the middle of the day, right? And I love that it's called that and that it means self-sabotage, because oftentimes self-sabotage and how we self-sabotage ourselves is so apparent to everybody but ourselves. Funny how that works, right? It's interesting. The fact that this came up in reverse, I feel like how you self-sabotage or your own self-limiting beliefs or behaviors. Remember manifesting a 1-bedroom apartment when, the universe wants to upgrade you, right? It's that aspect. So I feel like you're being asked to look at how maybe even, beliefs that you inherited as well, or your relationship to work, your body, your home, your relationships. You're really being asked to take a view of that and ride this wave, right? The fact, again, that the 7 of Swords came out in reverse, I feel like you are going to be seeing yourself in a very, I want to say from a stark perspective, like in the stark light of day. What I'm hearing that song, who's that by? Miranda Lambert, When the Ugly Lights Come On. And that's no shade. That's just you are seeing yourself under fluorescent lighting, which is not always the most flattering, but you are going to be in a position of really, facing some aspects of yourself and your relationship to, how you work and live and manifest and all of these things, right? See the 5 of Cups here, right? 5 of Cups. So this is some loss, right? But this is also about your perspective and your relationship to loss, right? This is that, cup half empty versus cup half full realness, right? If this crow were just to flip around and look at these 2 full cups, it doesn't need to worry about the 3 that are spilled, right? Bye, moving right along, right? But there's also something to be said about taking the proper time to mourn the loss of these cups. I'm not saying dwell in it, but remember how I saw you guys riding that wave and that river down the main street, right? And letting the flow move you. There's something here about obstructed flow versus allowing the flow and flipping your perspective, while at the same time, it's not about, because again, back to the 7 of Swords that came up in reverse, it's also not about avoidance. Sometimes when we I'm seeing the image of a to-do list. Sometimes when we have a to-do list and it's really long and detailed and all that good stuff, like, I love a good to-do list, But sometimes when we have a to-do list, it's actually an avoidance list of how to avoid what we don't want to face or deal with. Oh, I'll make a to-do list of everything that I, am not avoiding so that I can avoid what I want to avoid. If that makes any sense at all. Like that's what this kind of feels like, right? Can you live without a to-do list? Can you live without a certain map or compass for the moment and trust that if you just surrender, release, and allow yourself to be in a place of open receptivity, right? Just imagine, or don't try to imagine, just have faith that you're going to end up in a beautiful position, right? Much more so than if you were trying to control, right? Or really focusing on, this to-do list of, and no shade, but I feel like it's a to-do list that doesn't mean a whole lot, right? Something to that. Page of Pentacles. Earth energy here for y'all. This is making a lot of sense. The pages are a young energy. They're a beginning energy. They're a newbie energy, right? So the fact that this is coming up for you here and we're talking about where you land, yeah, it does feel like you are moving into starting something new, a new place or a new perspective or a new relationship to the work that you do and in what time you do it in. Because another thing about the Pentacles is that they can't be rushed. Right? There's this thing about, but I want to say that it's larger than saying take your time, because the horse, you have the Chariot here, right? So I feel like there's this caution against even saying take your time, because take your time could translate to, depending on your perspective, could translate to take a time out. And that's not what I'm getting for you guys. I'm not getting that it's a time to take a time out, because I feel like, you guys have been, gotten that advice before, and that's all good and well. And, likely will again. We all, will come to times where it's like, okay, let's take a time out. But this is about keeping it moving ahead while relinquishing control of the steering wheel. Okay. Because horses also represent a relationship to spirit. Right? Also the braids there, mind, body, spirit connection. I do feel like you are being called to balance, whether this is a physical balance, emotional, spiritual, all of it, right? Are you treating yourself in a way that is conducive to a, feeling good on a day-to-day basis? And that's going to be very personal and different for each of y'all. And wouldn't you know it, we get Temperance here, which is all about your relationship to your body and your spirituality and yourself in general, right? Now, this is really interesting how this is coming up here. First of all, this is Sagittarius energy, right? And we have the Seven of Swords. I really feel like you guys are being asked to really look at yourself in relationship to how you live, the quality of sleep that you get, how much sleep you get, when do you wake up versus when do you go to sleep, the kind of foods that you put into your body. Listen, I don't care what kind of food you put into your body as long as you feel good, right? If the food that you eat has you feeling good and you have energy to go about what you want to go about doing and you feel good at the end of the day, tally-ho and carry on, okay? But if that's not the case, perhaps an edit. Because you really are being asked to look at, how you feel and how you move through the world. Flamingos represent performers and people who are in the public eye or spend time, speaking or influencing other people, right? So there's something to that. If you think about it, people in the public eye or performers, there is this aspect of their body being their instrument. And so because their body is their instrument, they have to treat it like an instrument, right? Fine tune it, clean it, take it to the shop when it needs to be fixed, right? So there's something about viewing your body as your instrument. There's something about that. Temperance is also about patience and balance. Seems to be at the core of this. And what ways are you contributing to your overall well-being and what ways are you not? And what a beautiful time to really take stock of that as well during your birthday season, because that's the end of your personal year and the beginning of a new one, right? Hello. So I just did a Cancer reading, FYI, and you're getting a lot of the same cards. So a lot of Cancer energy here for y'all. And you got Cancer here with the horse. Hello. Knight of Wands. So let's talk about the ostrich there. And I love how both the heads are down like this. Let's talk about this, Virgo. Let's talk. Ostrich has this bad rep of, there's that saying of like, don't be an ostrich, like don't put your head in the ground and avoid life. Here we are back to this avoidance, right? Don't avoid life. And ostrich is actually having the last laugh because it actually doesn't stick its head in the ground. What it actually does is, so imagine a predator a ways away, right? And it can only see this part of the bird when the head is down like that, right? So it actually does that as a defense mechanism and a way to stay alive and thrive, right? In the wild. So the predator only sees this and it's like, what is that? Is that a big feathery rock? What's happening? And it can't, it doesn't read it as prey, right? So what is the ostrich doing here? It's adapting to its natural environment and using its body, right, for its own benefit. Something to that. Also with the head looking down here, there's something about, I want to say chin up, chin up. Also, the ostrich's legs, this is Knight of Wands. This is fast forward moving energy, right? The ostrich's legs are quite lethal, right? So there's something about this purposeful movement here and about taking this time to allow yourself to sort of adapt to where you are, flip your perspective and trust. Oh, okay, sound effect. I'm filming in my, my usual place where I film. I'm not used to the sound effects anymore. I was filming from like the country for a while and I'm just like, oh, right. But there is something here about trusting that, where you end up is going to be even better than what you could possibly dream up or control yourself into, right? Yeah. Yeah, again, back to this marker stick here. Marker sticks will, denote where a piece of land ends and begins. So I do feel like there's something here about home life or landscape or, your relationship to it. Page of Pentacles. Music and singing. I'm getting music and singing. A beautiful way to shift one's energy or go from one state of being to another is music. Whether that's listening to it, singing it, playing it. I'm hearing music is the great healer and tonic for you right now. It's really beautiful. Oh, hello. So with the Page of Pentacles, this is really beautiful. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Two of Swords and the Moon that came out together. So I'm really obsessed with this. First of all, do you see all these circles here, like the clock faces? There's something about that, really, really is. Even the cups, right? So the moon is about the unknown, but it's also about what aspect, I'm really getting in this context too, because the owl here is about clear seeing, right? I feel like the moon is speaking of, again, this is Piscean energy, but it's also Cancer energy because Cancers are ruled by the moon, okay? I feel like in this context, this is about what you may not want to look at inside of yourself or in your given circumstances. You are being called to look at yourself under the fluorescence. Okay? Look at yourself under the fluorescence. I do feel like a good group of you guys are going to be having some very informative dreams. I would keep a dream journal by your bed, for sure. Because you also have the Two of Swords here. The Two of Swords is restricted vision, restricted sight, right? I feel like you're being asked to take the blinders off with the horse here and really look at the infinite amount of possibilities before you and around you as well, right? I feel like some of you guys are entering into a new line of work, have a transition coming with work, or thinking of beginning something new or looking for work. There's something here about a new start with work life, and you're being asked something. You're being asked, what is it that you particularly are good at? What do you have to share with the world? What in your previous line of work or in your current line of work does or does not make you happy? And if you had the opportunity, if time and money were no object, that's what I feel like the point of it is. If time and money were no object, what would you do? Now, I know you would do some form of work because you're a Virgo, but if time and money were of no object, what would you do? What would the work be? That's what you're being asked of with this Two of Swords and the Moon and the Page of Pentacles. We also have the full moon coming up in Pisces in a few days' time. That's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for you guys to really allow yourself that perspective, right? Do you see the moon shining on the water here? What are you avoiding seeing? And if you're not avoiding, then perhaps it's really about stepping into the opportunity before you to see something that is currently been obstructed from your vision, right? Yeah. Okay, let's get an oracle for y'all. Oracle for my Virgos. Oracle for my Virgos. Oh, hello. Ebb and flow. What have I been saying this entire reading? Ebb and flow. Do you notice how this is the dawn coming up? It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. This is where you're going, but remember how the message, I saw that water carrying you through the town center. This is really about allowing yourself to be moved. And guess what? Enjoy this time, Virgo, because it's not every day and every moment in time where spirit is going, listen, you've done a lot of work getting to where you are. Let us drive the chariot. Let others around you support and uplift you right now without you needing to be at the helm or make decisions or make endless to-do lists that don't really mean anything. No shade, no shade. Right? Enjoy this birthday season. It's been a time getting here. Allow yourself to really see yourself, make some alterations, and move forward in your highest and best path, because this is a gift and opportunity that's being laid out for you, like the yellow brick road. Right? Allow yourself to be in the ebb and flow of the unknown here, because the ocean represents the unknown. And allow healing to happen in the process like salt water does, right? You know, this is really reminding me of the Cancer reading as well. You might want to watch the Cancer reading because I saw an ocean at the top of that reading as well. So you also definitely have Cancerians around you or in your chat, right? Beautiful. You got this, Virgo. Have a beautiful birthday season. Allow yourself to be in the ebb and flow and enjoy this time where, you know, you're in the flow without, you know, necessarily a clear destination ahead or the map to get there. Enjoy it. Okay? Also, the ocean, right, and the moon go hand in hand with the cycles of things as well. So, and enjoy and appreciate the cycles for what they are, and understand that everything, you know, has a different phase and time and matter of unfoldment. And one is not better than the other. Okay? All right, Virgos, that is your first half of September general reading. I hope you have a wonderful birthday season. I so hope that this helped and resonated. If so, please let me know in the comments below. I'm back and I really want to read your comments. How you been? What you been doing? What are you up to? With that being said, just thank you so much for being here. And most of all, as always, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.